Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope we're all doing very, very well. Now yeah, we're outside. The sun is just about coming over the top of the roofs here of the Kilt Mansion and all its estates. So it's going to start cutting across us, but I thought we'd go outside because I got something really special to show you, which would benefit from the outdoors. So, our good friend from down under, our good mate, a top bloke, Sgrowie from down under, he sent me something. Now, it would have been a mystery unboxing, except for one thing. I knew what it was. He did send a couple of clues straight away. It's a replica sword. It's something you haven't got, but I know you've mentioned it. And various sort of toings and throwings of messaging. I kind of knew what it was. Oh, you've got it again. So there's no going to open the box and, oh, what is it? What it is, it's right there. You can see it. You can see it right there, right there. That is a Sayu Katana. That is the dragon head Katana from the film Highlander. Oh yes, Highlander. There can be only one Sgrowie. Now, this, I've got other swords from Highlander. I'll show you them. We have the Kurgan's blade. Yeah, stainless steel. It's a wall hanger. It's also the most ridiculous and most unwieldy of weapons you can imagine. But as a movie iconic weapon, it's second to none. It's fantastic. I've covered it a lot. I won't go into it now. You also have Conor Mcleod from the clan MacLeod. His actual claymore. Let's bring that back. His claymore. Old style claymore with the name MacLeod emblazoned all over it, cross guard, and it's wonderful. I do love this. Again, it's another wall hanger, but it's actually a really, really good actual sword as well. It's really well made. I'm quite impressed with this one, I'll be honest. So we've got those, but I never did have the katana, which became more synonymous with Conor McLeod's character, and then of course Duncan MacLeod, Adrian Paul in the huge TV show. Now in that sword, the katana, evolved from season to season to season, and the katana in the Highlander movies evolved from movie to movie to movie. But this, what I'm going to show you now, is and it's a Mushi from oh god, who are they from? Hang on, I've got all the blurb here. Musha. This is from the Musha line from Musashi. And these guys are great. These guys, I'll tell you who they are. They're the official weapon of the United States Kempo team. They are the silver medal winner in weapons category at the Turkey International Competition. Handcrafted by world-renowned master swordsmiths, but you never get the same swordsmith. You might never know who the guy was that made your blade. You know what I mean? They're rated 4 stars in Sword Buyer's Guide. They're recommended by editor of Katsushinkan Sword Art Journal magazine, and they're recommended by all sorts of people. Forged under the advisement of Grandmaster Rino Kanori Genki of Tenshincho Shaigan Ryu. So yeah, they're great. It seems to have gone very dark all of a sudden, at least what I'm looking at right now, and I don't want that. I want you to see this, so I might have to swing the camera around a little bit. I might just extend the camera down here somewhat. Let's just do that. Let's bring the get that sorted out. Still a bit on the dark side, aren't we? I don't know. We'll work with this. We'll work with it. But anyway, in the film, Conor McLeod is given by Sean Connery the katana, the dragon, ivory-headed, ivory-hilted dragon katana, and Juan Ramirez, Sean Connery, a Scotsman playing a Spaniard who's actually from Egypt, and you've got in the film a Frenchman Christopher Lambert playing a Scotsman. Makes no sense at all, does it? You know. But, and he's, in his first battles, he uses that claymore I just showed you. Fighting the Kurgan, he uses his fantastic blade throughout the rest of the movie. But Ramirez, who will lose his head to the Kurgan, Conor McLeod will retrieve his fabled, mythical samurai sword, his katana, which was given to him by his mentor in Japan, Musashi Mushi, on the, as a wedding gift, because he's marrying Musashi Mushi's daughter, Shikiko, something like that. Can't remember now. And as Sean Connery says, he's describing the sword to Conor McLeod. Yeah, it's one of a kind, just like his daughter, you know. And it is truly a work of art. There are a gazillion of these on the market, these replicas, these katanas, and people tout them as being from the TV show. They tout them from, this is from Highlander 3, the Sorcerer, this is from blah blah blah, this is the original one. And some are fantastic, some are, but you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of whatever your actual currency might be, because they are hand forged and folded and folded and folded again, and then they're really sharpened. Now, this Sgrowie ordered me one of these, and he said I want it to be, it's a usable sword, it's a functional blade. Now what that means, folks, is when it comes out the box, companies always say, when it comes out the box, it's sharp. You know, no, they're not. They're not that sharp, because, especially with one of these, because to actually sharpen, or in for samurai and katana, it's called polishing. You polish the blade. You don't sharpen it, you polish the blade. And it's done painstakingly, not with any grinders or anything like that. It's done with sandpaper, varying degrees of sandpaper and oil, and you are working 10 hours a day. You know, you do like 1,000 hours or something like that. No, probably not that much, but like the folding of the steel itself, like the folding and the forging and the folding and again and again and again, it's a laborious process, but it makes a fantastically, scientifically unbelievable blade. So what this does, when they're sharpening it, it takes so long to do. So a functional blade, everyone thinks, oh, when it comes out of the box, it's going to be totally ready to use, it's battle ready. Well, the blade and the sword itself, the blade is strong, it's high carbon steel. This is 1045 carbon steel, high carbon steel, and which is a great workable steel to use. It can way be sharpened again, and it's resilient and long lasting. So that's great. Now, but to sharpen it, to polish it, as they would say, you're not going to put all those man hours into sharpening one of these blades and then put it in a box and send it halfway around the world. It's not going to happen. It isn't going to happen. Sgrowie lives in Australia, but he bought this from California, and this came to me from California. So, once again, Sgrowie, awesome, mate, absolutely awesome. There are no words, really. Now, other than great big thanks and freaking awesome, man, you know. But, so they're not going to come out the box sharpened. It just doesn't happen. But you can sharpen them yourself. And you haven't got to mess around with the angle grinders and all that kind of stuff. You could do it the old-fashioned way and just take your time, if you want. This is actually pretty sharp, I'll be honest. I was surprised at how sharp this was. But, you know, I'm not going to run my fingers down the blade, but, you know, it's, take it from me, it is quite sharp. The tip is absolutely steel-puncturingly hard. And sharp, that's how good that is. But a functional blade means the balance and the tang are proportionately correct. Now, with these katanas and this elaborate faux ivory dragon hilt, what you tend to find is that the dragon hilt itself will break off. I've seen this, I know this, because the tang doesn't run all the way through. And with this, I don't know, I genuinely don't know, but I would suspect it only goes probably as far as up here. and then so the dragon egg could still break off. But I don't know that. It's not going to go through there. It won't go up to there. I doubt they do that, but I don't know. But the point is, functionality out the box. You can reenactments. You can smash this against another sword, against inanimate objects, and it will do damage. It will have force, weight, and the appropriate severity of power. So it will work. It will work. Sharpening it, then you can pluck a hair out your head, float it through the air, and split it. Not down the middle, but lengthwise. Whoosh, right the way down. That's how it should be done. But anyway, so you have the sire, the scabbard, which is now in the film it is red. Juan Ramirez has a red sire, red scabbard. Now this is the black one. You can get them; they are available, I know for a fact, in blue, in black, and in red. This one is black. It looks fantastic. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And it's wood, and it's lacquered wood, and it's lovely. It's nice and ornate. We have some decoration down the bottom here. I hope you can see this, because suddenly I'm beginning to think like filming outdoors with contrasting sort of shadow and intense bright light wasn't such a good idea after all. But hey, I can always show you it again. But there you go. That's nice. Look at it. It's lovely and sleek. They're quite long for katanas. I find the Highlander version. It's a longer blade. Now, so you have your cords, your tying cords here, which are, I forgot what they're called. What are they called? Sago. Folks, by the way, I have trained extensively with swords in the past. I've done lots of HEMA stuff, and I've said before that the one thing I never really learned was the samurai sword, the katana, and I did do training with it, and for me it didn't work. I found the whole thing to be very, very rigid, whereas sword fighting should be fluid. It should be instinctive, reflexive, instinctive, absorbative of shock waves from your opponent, but also progressive. It's fluid. It's like a river, And you think that the spiritual side of Bushido and the whole samurai code would be that, and indeed it is. Except that when you learn it, it's so rigid. It's so disciplined, and just whoosh that way, whoosh that way, whoosh that way, and it does progress, of course. But my God, and I've done lots of other martial arts as well, notably Taekwondo, but I couldn't take to this. For me, it really wasn't working. So I am not proficient with one of these at all. Now I know. People go like, well, if sword fighting, which is the whole fencing etiquette and artistry is kind of universal. You've got a long bladed piece of steel, and you're going against somebody else. The fencing artistry and science behind it applies right across the board. Well, it does for certain shaped weapons, but I couldn't deal with this. I couldn't get past 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks is nothing, but I couldn't. I was terrible. I just didn't feel any affinity for it. I love the swords, love the blades, love the history, love the entire cultural aspects of it. Speaking of which, by the way, the dragon that they carved for the movie, this dragon, whose name I've forgotten the name of, but he's one of the 4 or 5 dragons which defend Japan, and this one in particular, Sairu, he protects Kyoto, the city of Kyoto, the eastern side, I believe. They're so big, these cities. You need different dragons from different parts, obviously, but they all form part of the overall deity that looks after Japan. So it's one bit of history, and look at the carving on it. Hope you can see that. I really hope you can see this. It's intricately carved. Lots of effigies of people and culture and stuff taking place. Lots of little dragons and beasties, and of course the main dragon is coiled all the way around the hilt. So, and then, but what you're all spotting now is, yeah, the faux red gem. Now, in the movie, that it's not there, doesn't have that, and that's one of the things which always marks these replicas out as being, well, that's how they get away with it. They call themselves a Highlander sword, Highlander katana, but they put this in, and well, it isn't, then is it? Now, someone out there might go like, well, I don't know, in season 4 of a Highlander TV show, it actually does sport that, but in the movies it doesn't, and certainly in the first one it doesn't. So Conor McLeod is given this by Juan Ramirez, Sean Connery. In the TV show, Duncan MacLeod, Adrian Paul, has a very similar version to this, but this is the Highlander one. So anyway, right, let's get the sword out of its scabbard, out of its saya. Okay, let's put that down there. And here is the blade. Okay, let's show you this. I don't know the actual dimensions. Very, very sharp. That is very sharp. There's a name for all these different parts and I've forgotten. But the actual blade, it's single-sided blade. So there's your cutting edge here. As you know, it should be razor sharp. That's your Heyman. Heyman? Not Hyman. A Heyman is your major cutting edge. You've got your Kostaki, I think, is the actual point. Could be wrong about that. I forget all these terms. And you've got your Suba is the guard. This is the guard here. Your Suka is the handle, right? And you've got your pommel. There's a name for that, which I've forgotten, of course. But I'll show you. Can you see this Suba? Elaborately decorated. I'll bring it a bit closer. I hope you can see this. I really do. You got all dragons curled around all this, of course, and it's nicely engraved, very, very lovely, very ornate, and it's kind of like a brass sort of finish to it. There are versions of this where they're gold. Now, I know in the movie it's kind of clearly meant to be gold that Juan Ramirez is wielding, so a gold Suba, the red scabbard and all that. It's a different thing. But there are makes of these where they're very shiny golden. To be honest with you, I don't think that looks as good, because let's try and bring it in again. This sort of darkened, more burnished quality, less flashy, and kind of more realistic, I would say. But you've got your blade collar, your habiki, which is here. That's your habiki there. Now that's nicely, that's very gold looking, I know, like I appreciate that, that's very gold looking. It's nicely affixed, it's all very strong, and as I say, it's very functional. The blade, I'm not going to run my fingers along this. It is sharp, but you know, I mean, I'm doing it, but it's not like, it's not going to slice me open, but if I push my fingers on it and then whoosh, I'd lose them. It is as sharp as that. But it's lovely, you know, it is genuinely a great bit of cinematic iconography, but also based very historically upon the genuine katanas for many dynasties and many centuries. Look at it again. It is a beauty. That carving, so superb, and it's iconic with the movie, of course. I mean, as you know, like most katanas, they're cord wrapped, you know, for the hand grip. So but the hand grip you've got here, because of the innate engraving and carving into this hilt, and it works. It's genuinely works, and it feels good. The weight and the balance of this is spectacular. I haven't done any cutting with it. You could. I'm not saying that the blade isn't massively sharpened, but the weight and the power behind it will do a lot of damage. Let's just put it that way. I mean, there's some old gateposts just behind you guys there, and I could do. I've already hacked into these a fair bit, and you know I've destroyed the shed with my longbow. You know I destroyed that. Go back and look at them videos. I have destroyed what was standing over there one time. It's gone. It's gone. Oh, I'm feeling the urge to smash into this now. Yeah, so let's just do it. Oh, you can't see it, I know, but Chinese chimes. Okay, yeah. But I mean, no, that's just the power and weight of it coming down, the downward force and gravity. That's not like a major. Do you know what that does feel? Right. I'm tempted to just go, whoosh, look at that. But I'm not going to do that. Not that stupid. But this is great. Do you know in the movie, Christopher Lambert was immensely short-sighted. Well, it's not that he was in the movie. He was in real life, and he's got other problems now, of course. But Christopher Lambert was horribly short-sighted and glasses off, couldn't see a thing. Many extras saying he's blind as a bat. And the scene where he's sparring, he's using his MacLeod claymore, and Ramirez is training him. Never understood this. Why does Ramirez train someone you may have to go up and fight? And then, you keep yourself to yourself and try and keep some tricks back. You don't want to, because you want to be the one that wins the prize and be there can be only one. And you want to be that one. But I never understood that. Makes no sense. But he's training him, and they're in the woods, and they're sparring. Say, Conor's got the MacLeod claymore, Ramirez is using this, and they're sparring pretty well. It's actually not choreographed too well. I've always said this about the sword fighting in Highlander, and it's Bob Anderson, the great Bob Anderson swordmaster, who trained them and tutored them in the sword fighting. But it's so, they're going, you hit there, clang, you hit there, clang. No one's going for the body at all. Nowadays in movie fighting, they're doing it really, really well. So, but but it doesn't matter. It is what it is. And but apparently, because they had all the trees around them. Certain ones were like made out of polystyrene, so you could actually hit those trees. And it's one of those scenes where Ramirez, Conor's just laughing, "Ha, you missed me," as he's ducked out of the way. But Ramirez has actually cut the tree in half, and the tree falls on him, and Sean Connery just laughs in the background, sort of thing. It's one of those sequences. But Christopher Lambert was swinging his sword around wildly, and he actually sunk because he forgot, and he just couldn't see where the fake ones were, and he put his claymore into one of the real trees and hoisted the poor bastard out of the ground. And he was swinging it around, a great big log attached to it, and he's going like, these props are mad, And they're going, no, you've hit the wrong one, But he's short-sighted. What's he supposed to do? Clancy Brown says a lot of the same things, that fighting with him, Christ almighty, he didn't know where he was going to put that blade because he couldn't see what he was doing. Isn't that clever? You get a Frenchman to play a Scotsman, the Scotsman to play a Spanish Egyptian, and your lead guy can't see, and you're going to give him a variety of big swords to wield and go up all their cast members with. Go figure. But this, folks, is a wonderful, wonderful replica. I know it has the faux gemstone, but that's beautiful. But the ornate decoration is wonderful, and the fact that it's a functional sword, which can be used. You got your wall hangers, you've got your decorative swords. I've shown you plenty of them, but there's a couple right there. That claymore isn't too bad actually for what would be just a replica, but they've done it really well. And they've used good steel as well for that one. The Kerrigan blade, it's fucking ridiculous. But looks amazing, let's be honest. But this can be used. and it can clash against steel. There's me going on before about I couldn't do samurai katana use. I just didn't find any affinity with. But everyone who does sword fighting as well said, well, you just use it the same way. It's just a single-edged sword. You just use it as a single-edged sword. There's no rigidity to it. You can do whatever you want. You can parry, you can go everywhere, you can swivel around. You know, you can go from the ground upwards, from the heavens downward, side up, side down, side sideways. You can do anything you want. You can parry and block and cut and slide down. Of course you can. Of course you can. But you've got to have a sort of a bond with your blade and know what you're doing. But the training that they give you with these is so, it's just, you know, 1 foot down, back. 2 days just doing that. What? And then 2 days with the other foot. And then overhead, you know, and downward. But you can go up, and there's all sorts. These are light. These are surprisingly light. It's never meant to be a heavy weapon whatsoever. Whereas, you know, your claymores, your broadswords, your long swords, your bastard swords, your hand and a half swords, they are heavy. They are heavy, and they are built for the downward. You know, you're just going to bash something here on the side of the head, top of the head, and you can run through, which of course you can do with this as well. But, you know, I can understand that. I don't know, maybe it's just the barbarian in me, just bring it down. But the artistry involved with using one of these is slightly more, I don't know, out of my league. I've always said that the Greek Xiphos blade, which would evolve into the Roman gladius, that same sort of shape, size, dimensions, that's a sword that I love. I've got them. I've shown you them, gladius and gladius, and the Xiphos, and I love them. I think they're great. That shape is just perfect, and double-edged sword as well. So you can, best of all worlds. But this, courtesy of Sgrowie. I hope you're seeing this right, because the sun is now shining just over the top here, right at me, and I hope you can see this, because it was meant to. I come outside so you can see it properly, and you probably can. It's just the shadow and light play that I'm getting where I'm standing. But look at that. It's a beauty, isn't it? Yeah. There can be only one. Imagine that going up against, you know, the Kurgan's blade. It's just, and they're doing like, you know, this is what you see in movies of that period and earlier. You know, they're clashing swords way above your opponent's head. Who's doing that? He's there. You know, and there's all this, you know. See, the thing about these is, like, I'm just picking up now as well, is the swipe and the side sort of. I'm reining it in because they are new, fantastically, you know, super NASA double glazed conservatories right there. You watch that'll cut straight through it. Not going to risk that one. But I think they're great. It's a wonderful bit of kit. There are many versions of this that are out there. And as I say, Duncan MacLeod in the Highlander TV show had a variant of this. And the thing is, it does look very similar. But this is the Highlander Katana, made by Musashi. Oh, I forgot it again. Who are they? Musashi, but it's the Mushi line that this comes from, and it's terrific. The Scabbard, the saya, again, beautiful. Yeah, it's black. In the film, it's red. We know this. You got the staya, which are the what are they called? Sagu, which are the cords wrap around it there. See these cords? Sagu, I think it's Sagu. And you've got dragons curled around the the top, the sire there. A beauty, folks, a beauty and a half. And even, you know, the scabbard, it's still so lightweight compared to something like this, where the weight is comparable to a genuine claymore of this kind, not the basket claymore, which is actually a different shape again entirely, but still a claymore. That's way heavier than that, you know. And the Kerrigan blade again, if we're going to discuss this sort of thing, the Kerrigan blade, a huge, vast, unwieldy, hand and a half, pure bastard sword, with its spikelets. Look, I've gone into this sword before. No sword should be fitted together, you know, and in the film he does it. By the way, Clancy Brown was really good with the sword. He's a big guy, he wielded it really well. But did you know he didn't have piss off Sean Connery? You know, during their battle in Connor's new home, that little tower bloody thing that he's living in with Heather, you know, and while he's away, Clancy Brown, the Kerrigan, pays a visit, lightning strikes and all that, and he leaps in from the doorway, and Sean Connery's sitting at the table, and he leaps in, oh, breaks the table in half, little sparks and stuff flying everywhere. Well, he was so in awe of working with Sean Connery that even though they'd rehearsed it a million times, his mind went blank when he came in and made that leap. He hit the chandelier and knocked it flying into the crew and the camera people and everybody around, knocked it into them, and he hit the table in the wrong place and severed the table just the wrong way, and almost killed Sean Connery. Sean Connery got up, stormed off, took his costume off, just stormed off the set. Took a while to bring Sean Connery back, but it's all because he's like, I'm working with you, Sean, for God's sake, you know, you're James Bond. Oh, you know, and they kissed and made up. But you can imagine it, can't you? You know, you've just got to get this thing right, and you're flinging around a mighty sharp, heavy bit of steel, and you've got to cut a table in two, big trestle table. You know, what could possibly go wrong? But folks, thanks to Sgrowie, we have the dragon head Katana from Highlander, which Ramirez gives to Conor Mcleod. Conor Mcleod will reforge this, because in Highlander 3, the sorcerer, this gets shattered, and then in the next movie, which is, I forgot what it's called now, Highlander that drag my arse through the air, you know, through the bottom of the barrel. He reforges the sword, but they do spend a lot of time in Scotland though, again, which is lovely, like the first movie. And of course the film's getting remade. I've done videos on this. Henry Cavill is playing Conor Mcleod, and it's Chad Stahelski from the John Wick movies who's directing it. Yes, so it could work, it could really work. Improve the sword fighting. Chad Stahelski is an expert director of fight and action choreography, so I think that will work. Will they use this? I've said before that I want, if you're going to do a trilogy, which they said it's going to be the start of a trilogy, perhaps, maybe more, who knows how successful it might be, because John Wick's gone to chapter 4 now. If it's going to be an ongoing thing, well, sectionalise it. In the first one, keep it in the Highlands in the 15th century, because they by far the best sequences in Highlander are set in Scotland. The whole training and realisation montage, all of that, and the scenery, it's so gorgeous. Use that, but use that really, really big time in this remake. So in that one, clearly he'd be using the claymore for most of it, and then obviously if they're going to follow the narrative, and Ramirez or some other mentor is going to come to him, you're going to have to give him the iconic katana as well. But that could be at the end of this movie. He'll inherit that one after Ramirez loses his head, and then in the second one, some other time period, that's what he'd be using from that point onwards. Who knows? You know, because the whole thing, it's a remake, reboot, and I've said so many times, you know, we're opposed to these things, but that said, it could really work. It could work. Highlander is one of those concepts which is a great premise, but it doesn't translate as well. I've said it, I love the movie, but it's got so many flaws and plot holes and inaccuracies and stupidity. Just bring someone in who respects the lore and the mythology and keeps to it. The original Highlander franchise did not keep to any of that. Look at Highlander 2. They're not immortals, they're aliens. You know, it's just fuck off. And you know, it made no sense at all. But I hope it works, put it that way. And I want to see more Highlander. And keep to the title. He is a Highlander. And I'm wearing, once again folks, I am, as you can see, I'm wearing the correct MacLeod tartan, which he does wear in the movie. I've always bigged this up. Most movies get the tartans wrong. They did not get it wrong in this movie. So, great stuff. Let's get the blade out again. This is lovely, isn't it? It's like slice the camera in half. It is amazingly, you know, dexterous and agile. I don't know why I never got to grips with it properly, but I never did. But, you know, I can see the benefits. Isn't it gorgeous? So folks, there you go. The dragon-headed Highlander katana, wielded by Conor Mcleod, once previously owned by Juan Ramirez. And at some point, a sisterling, a brotherling, a sibling of this is wielded by Duncan MacLeod. Both are Clan MacLeod. So folks, I have been, and always shall be, Kilt-Man. Please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. I'll be back with more. But in the meantime, as ever, hair's breadth scything in between time. Please just be yourselves. And I'm going to see you all laters. And I really hope you could see some of that video, because the shadows on the lens makes me think I may have to do the whole thing all over again. Shock horror.